What's up, everybody? Mike Rashid. Answering your questions from today. Let's dive right into it. First question, and it was a lot. You guys put a lot of questions. Obviously, I can't get through all of them, so I just went through and picked as many as I can, just straight down. I didn't like pick over anybody's questions, so I'm not picking and choosing. So, Mike, what shall I do to increase my bench press? You should bench press a lot. If you The way I increased my bench press, I explained it and broke it down in the overtraining chest ebook, and I actually give you the workouts. There's actually a video online when I took out I don't know if it's week 1 or 2, and I just did the bench press progression, and complete rep for rep, set for set. You see everything. So it's a recent video, so just go through the channel and you'll see it on there. But you got to bench press a lot. You know what I'm saying? Bench press is the primary movement for your chest. So I'm a big fan of doing a lot of the primary movement. So I'll spend anywhere from 7 to 10 sets on a flat bench when I'm starting chest. So spend a lot of time on it. You got to be progressive with your program. What that means is if you know you can get up to 225 or 315 or whatever it may be, go ahead and do that. But over time, instead of going, I'm gonna give you an example. Say your progression, say you go up to 405. You do 135 for 10, 225 for 10, 315 for 5, 405 for 1 or 2. Okay? And you're doing your routine every week, you hit that. Then at some point you need to do go and warm up with your 135, and instead of 225, do 245, instead of 315, 35. You understand what I'm saying? You got to increase the weight at some time. You got to be progressive with your programming. I already made it simple for you, so just follow the overtraining chest program. It's in there. It's broken down. Just do what I did, because I have a very strong bench press, and I've always have. When I left high school, I was benching like 275, and I was maybe 140, 150. You understand? So take it from someone who can bench heavy. All right, moving on. How much recovery time do you take between muscle groups, and do you have a split you use each week? My split is Monday back, Tuesday chest, Wednesday legs, Thursday shoulders, Friday arms, Saturday legs. Sunday I'll take a break. Sometimes I'll take a break on Saturday and train legs again on Sunday, or vice versa. Okay, that's my basic split. Now, depending on if I'm getting ready for a competition or whatever I feel like doing at the time, I will add second workouts within that. Sometimes I will add arms throughout the week as my second workout, or I will add arms as a superset with the primary movement. So if it's back, sometimes I'll throw triceps in there. If it's chest, I'll throw biceps in there. Legs, I usually just do that by itself. Shoulders, I'll do biceps, and so on and so forth. Okay, so that's my split. And how much time do I give each muscle group to recover? Typically a week. However, I have been known to do the same muscle group 3 days in a row. So really back to the overtraining thing that we always talk about. If you're feeding your body with the proper nutrients and you're resting, then you're going to recover. It doesn't necessarily take a week for your body to recover from a muscle group. However, if you have to go with what feels right for you. So it may take me 2 days. It may take me a week for certain things. It may take somebody else 3 days, or the next day, or a week and a half. Who knows? Everybody's body is different. You have to do what works for you. You have to try things out. If something works, do it. If it don't work, switch it up. Okay? But I do know that over experience, the way that I train myself, as far as hitting my max effort lifts damn near every time I lift a major muscle group, and getting a lot of reps building up and a lot more reps coming down. I've been beyond the sore and the hard to recover. I've been there. However, we are products of evolution. You know, we are forcing our bodies to change and evolve and adapt. It's forced adaptation. So when you're constantly putting your body through a certain amount of stress, you're asking your body to carry this heavy load over and over and over again. It becomes efficient at doing it. So what does that mean? You will recover faster. It's just how it is. You take somebody like Michael Phelps, he swims 8 hours a day, crazy stuff like that. I have a friend who's a professional marathon swimmer. She, open water, she does races for like 6, 7 hours. You know what I mean? And would you call that overtraining? You know what I mean? Textbook, yeah, but fuck the textbook. You do what works for you. Your body will adapt to the stress that you put it under, and that's that. If you don't train that hard, you train hard every once in a blue, you're gonna get sore as hell. You're gonna go, oh, I can't do this, I can't do that, and you feel like you need a week or two to recover. That's how it is. If you train hard, if you have that standard in your training to really beat yourself up in the gym, you will get used to that, and this is nothing to you. You'll see that you'll bring somebody in new to train with you. It could be an easy workout to you, but to them, it's like, this is the hardest shit they've ever done. And it takes them 2 weeks to recover. You understand? So if you're used to training hard, and when I say hard, I mean lifting heavy for you and lifting a very high amount of reps, you will start recovering faster. It's just how it is. Your body will adapt to the stress you put it under. All right? All right, what made you want to become a bodybuilder? As a kid, I've always, I'm old school. You know, we had He-Man and G.I. Joe, so to look at on TV for cartoons. Now y'all got Hey Arnold and little wimps and stuff. You know what I mean? We had He-Man. So basically, I grew up watching Arnold Schwarzenegger, not Hey Arnold. I grew up watching Arnold, Mr. T, wrestling, Hulk Hogan, Ultimate Warrior. You know what I mean? So quite naturally, and I was into boxing. So Mike Tyson, he was big. Quite naturally, I wanted, I'm a boy. I wanted to be a big, strong man. So I've always picked up the weights. We had the little cement weights in our backyard with the plastic wrapping. And every time you do a curl, a piece fall out. We had those. We're doing pull-ups, push-ups. It's always been a passion of mine to be big and strong. However, the sport that I got into, it wasn't conducive to being very big and very jacked, because I was a boxer, I was a fighter, so I had to be very athletic. However, I did a lot of weight training during those years, and it did help me out. It gave me a strength advantage, so that helped me out a lot. So when I got to the point to where I figured, you know what, I'm not going to pursue boxing anymore, I got into training in a different capacity, hypertrophy work, making my muscles grow, and there's a term that some people use called go muscles and show muscles. You know what I mean? So, and basically what they're saying is a certain amount of muscle mass is not very functional. It's just for looks, So I understand what they're saying. I don't 100% agree with that because if you can look at some bodybuilders and, they move slow, they're real tight, like an old man the way they move. That just tells me that they either was never an athletic person and they just happened to lift weights and got big, or they might have been athletic, but as they start lifting and lifting and lifting and getting bigger, they just stopped with the functional athletic stuff. You know what I'm saying? So I'm a big advocate, and I don't believe that you have to lose your flexibility. You don't have to lose your athleticism just because you're getting big. It didn't happen to me. When I go spar, I love boxing with a passion. Boxing and bodybuilding was like my 2 favorite sports. So I'll still go and spar. It's so many times I go into different people's gym to spar. I glove up and they're looking at me like, this dude is about to be a big, slow lunk. And I'm faster than a welterweight. You know what I mean? I have little man speed, but I'm a big guy, big man power. That's dangerous, very dangerous. So watch out. All right. Next question. When dieting and cutting weight, should you still go heavy when lifting? You ask me? Yes. I don't know if it's a mental thing or what, but my first show, second show, I was hitting PRs a week out from the show. You know what I mean? So I don't believe that just because you're cutting, you're going to lose strength. Um, I don't believe that because I feel like you're losing fat and not muscle if you're doing it how I think you should do it. How do I think you should do it? I think you should be losing weight. Losing weight is too vague of a statement. You should be losing fat and not muscle. So we all know that, well, most of you know that I'm not a fan of steady state cardio. Steady state cardio, you can lose weight, but that's exactly what you're gonna lose: weight, muscle, fat, fluids, whatever. So when you're my advice for people cutting, trying to drop fat. Now, unless you want to drop weight, you don't care how much, where it comes from, do your steady state all day. However, if you want to maintain as much muscle as possible and cut fat, I recommend you doing your normal weight training session for one session, and your second session, you doing high intensity training. Or you can do circuit training with weights. I feel like you should still do weights because all right, so you want to lose fat. You got to burn calories. What's the most effective way or the most efficient way of burning calories? Is resistance training. Is tearing muscles apart and letting them rebuild. So I'm a huge fan. Like why do cardio when that's second grade, or why do steady state cardio when that's second grade to more lifting? So go and lift more. So what I did, my first year I was super shredded. So I would do my regular training in the morning. Then in the evening, I would go to a different gym with a bunch of machines, and I would just hit every machine. Well, I picked the machines that I wanted to hit, and I would hit them in a row as many times as I can go in that circuit until I had to take a breather. And my heart rate was through the roof, cardio, but I'm building muscle, you know what I mean, and squeezing carbs out. So that's my advice to you guys. All right, this is getting long, so I'm going to maybe grab one or two more questions and wrap it up. All right. What do you do to get over a hump? For example, if you're at a weight of 190 and you're trying to get to 200 and you feel like you're doing everything possible, how do you get over that hump? You have to reevaluate your training. You have to look at your nutrition regimen. Are you on a nutrition regimen? Do you have a set program for your training, or are you just working out and eating? Excuse me. You have to have a plan. When you have a goal, you need a plan. It's best to write it out just so you can visualize it. I don't write certain things out because I remember everything. Sometimes I put it in my notepad and my iPhone, but I can remember things that I want to remember. So set a plan and execute it. Now, if you want to gain mass, I don't think that, or if you're 190, you want to get to 200, that's not a lot of weight. And I'm going to tell you why. Once again, we're talking about weight, fluids, fat, muscles. Fat is all weight, okay? If you want to gain 10 pounds of muscle, bro, you're going to be training for a long time. It takes a long time. It takes a while. I put on average, I'm estimating about 7 to 8 pounds of muscle, and that's being generous, a year. You understand that? So that's just to put things in perspective. You're not going to gain 10 pounds of muscle in a couple months. It's not going to happen. Okay, so you got to be eating a surplus of calories. If you want to put on muscle, a surplus of clean calories. That's what we call clean bulking. And by the way, myself and a good friend of mine, Chris Albert, we have an ebook about that, this clean bulking, coming out February 1st. So look out for that. So you have to be at a surplus of calories. You have to be at a surplus versus what you're burning off a day to put on weight, to add size. And you have to be completely fucking destroying your body as far as lifting. You have to tear those muscles down so they can grow back bigger and stronger. If you're just coasting through your workouts, it's like taking a walk. Your body is easy. Easy will get you nowhere. I promise you that. It's just it'll maintain you for a while, and then you'll start declining. You have to keep stepping it up. That's the good and bad thing about what we do as far as building our bodies, weight training. You can, you get strong, you're sculpting your body, but you always have to step it up if you want to increase your strength, your look, whatever it is. You always have to step it up, because once your body gets used to it, you do what we call plateau, right? And then you stay at that plateau long enough, you're gonna start declining because your body is not gonna burn off those calories the same like when those movements were hard for you. So now the movements start out hard. You keep working at it, keep working at it. Now that you're starting to get the hang of it, now you're good and you're locked in, but you're stuck here, you know? So your body becomes more efficient at it. That means you're not burning as many calories. It's not doing as much work to do these things. It becomes second nature. Just like taking a walk. You can take somebody that's 600 pounds that never walks, you know, and somebody that's very athletic, have them both walk, say 50 meters a day, back and forth. The person with at 600 pounds that don't walk is getting a fucking workout. They're sweating, they may be out of breath a little while, and they're gonna lose a lot of weight just from walking because they're not efficient at doing it. So it's difficult for them. Whatever is difficult for you is what you need to be doing. And when it's not difficult anymore, you got to step it up. All right. So this is a long blog, y'all. So I'm gonna go ahead and cut it short. I'm not gonna say keep sending questions because I'm gonna finish. You guys sent a lot of questions today, so I'll go ahead and answer this maybe in a part two tomorrow. So right now I gotta cook and eat and grow. So I'll check y'all out. Much love.